Since I canceled out an x minus 3, I know I'm going to have a hole where x is 3. How do I find the y? I plug it in, and if I plug in 3, I get 1/4. So when I plot that on my grid, 3 1/4, it's like right here. Now, what else do I need to put in my picture? A vertical asymptote. And where does the vertical asymptote happen? At x equals -1. Is that right? Horizontal asymptote. Y equals 1. Y-intercept. If you let x be 0, you get -2. X-intercept. Oops. If you let y be 0, multiply, still have 0, so x equals 2. Now, does anybody have a question about any of the asymptotes or points I put on that graph? About where any of them came from? Moses?
Well, like for the x-intercept, you don't mess with the bottom of it, you just mess with the top.
You multiply x plus 1 over to here. It's still 0.
I see that.
Now, based on what I have, I'm going to connect the dots, and you should have a picture that looks like this. If your paper wasn't perfect, have you figured out what you did wrong? Okay, then let's finish up from yesterday and then talk about your homework questions. Just have a couple more to do. We are on the back side of page 21. And I think we're ready for number 6. Is that correct? Couple of little details as you're getting ready. Get your note sheets out. Back of page 21, problem number 6. Remember, if you're going on retreat next week, everybody, your paper's due a week from Friday. If you're going on retreat, it's got to be turned in Tuesday. It's due second period on Friday. A hard copy. Do not email me your paper. I won't accept it. I want a printed piece of paper. No later than second period on Friday. No late papers accepted for any reason.
Can I turn it in early?
I want you to turn it in early. Nobody's turned it in early, and I don't understand that. It needs to be turned in no later than second period on Friday. If you're going on retreat, that means it must be turned in Tuesday.
You need this Friday?
A week from Friday, the 20th. Also, next Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, canned food drive. 3 days only. 3 opportunities only to turn in your cans or your money, whichever way you're doing it, to the cafeteria, not to Mrs. Ford, not to the front office, not to Mr. Freegee, to the cafeteria between 7 and 7:40. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday. After that, I don't care what you do with your cans, there'll be no extra credit. Extra credit for math, you turn them in when you're supposed to. Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, that's next week. On my website, on the emails you got, on the posters hanging around the school, are the details of how much you have to turn in to get your dress down days and, you know, all that other stuff. I'm focused on the math extra credit. You're going to want it on your semester exam. If it matters to you, you'll get your cans turned in when? Monday, Tuesday, or Wednesday, 7 to 7:40. I don't care if you have late arrival. If the extra credit's worth it to you, you'll get your butt in here between 7 and 7:40 in the cafeteria. Got it? Okay. We are ready for number 6, because tomorrow we have a quiz over one problem that might look just like this one. So let's talk about this. What did I tell you is the best way to start? If anything factors in the denominator, factor it. This denominator does not factor. This denominator does not factor. But what about this denominator? X plus 1. Now, what is our common denominator? X plus 1. Both of them. Your common denominator is both of them. So you are going to multiply x plus 1 times the first fraction, x plus 1 times the second fraction, and x plus 1 times the third fraction. And yes, x times x plus 1 times the 0. Every part of the problem, every piece, is multiplied by x and x plus 1. Now, this is fine. It just stays 0. What happens here? The x's cancel, and I am left with x plus 1 times x minus 3. What happens here? The x plus 1's cancel, and I am left with minus 3x. What happens here? The whole thing cancels, and I am left with just plus 3. All right? What's next? Try to FOIL this out. Now we have to collect like terms. So let's see. An x squared. How many x's do I have? Minus 3 plus 1 minus 3. What does that make? Minus 5? What happens to the negative 3 and the positive 3? They're gone. So we just have to equal 0. How do you want to solve that? You can take out an x. Factor out an x. Yes, you're factoring. You're factoring out an x. So what does that tell you your answers are? X equals 0 or x equals 5. There go my extraneous root antenna again. Because what happens if I put a 0 in my original problem? I get a 0 in the denominator. So the only answer to the problem is 5. Remember, whatever numbers you tell me the answers are cannot make the denominator 0. Erica?
This is what our quiz is over tomorrow, right?
One question, yep. Solving equations, like we did yesterday and today. All right, I need to erase this and do the last one. Is
Miss Moore,
everybody?
can I take a picture of that?
Uh-huh. Okay, everybody have what you need? Any questions about this? I just, it's fresh on my mind because I just did, I graded a makeup test today from one of the academic kids, and of course they've already done this. And the student did not write this down next to every term. And because she didn't write it down next to each term, she forgot and made a mistake. It was a small mistake, but it was simply the result that she didn't take the time to write this down next to every term. If you do that, you're going to save yourself so much grief. So try to not be lazy. Try to write it down next to every term and do the cancellation. All right, here we go. One more example, and then we'll look at homework questions. Here we go. Now, what did I tell you should do to get started? Factor any denominator that factors. So this last one factors. I'm going to go ahead and do it. X plus 2, x minus 1. I'm going to do a real quick little FOIL here. X squared minus x plus 2x minus 2 to make sure. Thank you, Mr. McGlynn. To make sure that that gives me what I started with, which is x squared plus x minus 2. I'm checking my foiling, my factoring, because I don't want to make a mistake like I made on my quiz. Right? Those of you that messed up your factoring, you don't want to do that again. Okay, so that was just my check, so I'm going to erase that now. What is my common denominator? X plus 2, x minus 1. X plus 2, x minus 1. X plus 2, x minus 1. The whole purpose is to make your denominators cancel out. This denominator will cancel out. So I am left with my 3x and x minus 1. Everybody see that? Now, my whole purpose is to cancel out my denominators. This denominator cancels out, leaving me with plus 2 times x plus 2. The whole purpose is to cancel out the denominators. This denominator cancels out, leaving me with 5. So what do I do here? It's really just a distribute.
Yeah.
So 3x squared minus 3x plus 2x plus 4 cleaning it up a little bit, I got 3x squared minus x minus 1 if I bring the 5 over. I don't think that factors. What do I do if it doesn't factor? I use the quadratic formula. Don't you dare stop here and say no answer or something dumb like that. No, no, no. It is solvable. It just can't be solved by factoring. So here we go. X equals. Some of you need to write down, and it's perfectly okay, A is 3, B is -1, C is -1. Write that down if it helps you. So negative B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4 times A times C all over 2A. Shoot, some of you may need to write the quadratic formula down. That is fine. Better to write it down than not get it right. So what have I got under there? 1 plus or minus what? The square root of what? 13. That's 1 plus 12. Notice, my antennae are staying down because the only numbers that wouldn't work would be +1 or -2. That's how I would get 0, right? And did I get either one of those as my answer? No. So no extraneous roots, that's it. Okay? All right, did anybody have any homework questions from last night? Any of your practice problems not worked out for you? You'll be doing a couple more tonight. Let's just go ahead and do number 4. Is that okay? We just go ahead and do it? Because we need to practice. We're having a quiz tomorrow, so we're going to go ahead and do problem number 4 because this is the kind of question your quiz is going to have on it. Do any of my denominators factor? No. So I'm ready to begin. What is my common denominator? What am I going to multiply by? X and x minus 3. Groupies, you got to multiply by every denominator. Okay? Make sure both bases are covered. Because your purpose is to cancel these out. So you have to have an x here to cancel out, and you're going to need an x minus 3 to cancel that one out. Do not forget, this side has to be multiplied also. That might trick you sometimes. You got to multiply this, this, and this by both parts of the common denominator. So far, so good, everyone? All right, the whole purpose is to cancel. This cancels and leaves me with x minus 3. This cancels and leaves me with minus 2x. That does not cancel, it's just a distribute problem, and I have that. Okay, what am I going to do with this mess? Get it all on one side? So I like to have my x squared positive, so I'm going to move everything that way. Oh wait, first of all, let's see. This becomes negative x minus 3. If I add these two together, I get negative x minus 3. So I'm going to add an x and add a 3. So 4x squared minus 11x plus 3. Double check my arithmetic. Does that look okay, Savannah? So negative b B plus or minus the square root of B squared minus 4AC all over 2A. So we get another one of these crazy looking answers, Savannah. 48, 121 minus 48, what's that? 73. So if my arithmetic is right, Savannah, that's what we ended up with. Does that take care of whatever question you had about it? Yes.
Let's do number 6.
Okay, let's do number 6, and I'm going to turn your test back. So pay attention, number 6. All right, this is a very similar problem. Does anything factor? No. So I'm going to jump right in and start multiplying. What am I going to multiply by? X, x minus 1. X, x minus 1. X, x minus 1. X minus 1's cancel, leaving you with 3x. Remember, if my denominator doesn't cancel, I'm messed up, because that's the whole purpose of what I'm doing. I want to get rid of those denominators. Plus 2x minus 1 equals this. Nothing cancels. All right, so we've got 3x plus 2x minus 2. You still with me, Lauren? Yeah. Equals 8x squared minus 8x. Let's just cite this one. We need to get everything on one side. So I'll move it over this way. So I'll subtract x and add 2. So I have 8x squared minus 9x plus 2. And I'm going to use my quadratic formula again. Yeah. So negative b plus or minus the square root of b squared minus 4ac all over 2a, which would be 16. That's 17 under there. So 9 plus or minus root 17 over 16. Check my arithmetic. I think that's right.
Yeah, that's right. I got mixed up when I was trying to transfer them to one side.
But you definitely need to do that, because you gotta have a 0. All right, so everybody clear? Quiz tomorrow. You got homework tonight, practice it. Quiz tomorrow. Also, tomorrow we'll have a lesson. We're gonna start inequalities tomorrow. I am not allowed to assign homework tomorrow. There's an assignment posted. It's not due until Monday. Okay? So, if you want to do it, you can, but you do not have to. Okay, I'm going to pass these out. I'll bring the stickers around.